Podcasting from her kitchen table, it's Jacqueline J. Here with another episode of Cast Iron Skillet Chronicles, where we focus on faith, family, fun, and finance for my fierce, fly, and fabulous sisters over 40. Come on in the kitchen. Coffee's brewing. Pull up a chair and girl, let's talk. Now, here is your host for Cast Iron Skillet Chronicles, Jacqueline J. Welcome back to the kitchen. I am so excited to have GraceAnn Johnson join me in the kitchen for this conversation during this episode of Cast Iron Skillet Chronicles. GraceAnn, would you please tell our listeners and our friends that we invite here to the kitchen about yourself and what it is you do and your particular brand of God-given greatness.
Oh, my word. It's so awesome to be here, Jacqueline. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited. I've been looking forward to this. So again, I am GraceAnn Johnson, CEO of Grace is Enough. And it's my coaching and consulting company that I founded a little over 5-6 months ago. So I'm super excited. I'll tell you all about that in a second.
Excellent.
At the kitchen table, so everything is up for grabs.
Absolutely.
So we what we do at Grace is Enough, that we help women who are 35 years and older and feeling stuck or trapped in a job that they no longer feel like they belong. We help them to plan confidently, gain an enoughness mindset, and transition to freedom with certainty. So ooh, right there,
yes. Go. That's a mouthful and that's a word. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I know, Jacqueline, that there are so many women out there who are dying to escape. Mm-hmm. Who if God could come down and say, here is a bucket load of money, they would take it and run for the hills. We just need to know how to invest it so it can continue to we can continue to have money. But I know that there are so many out there who are looking to escape, and so that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book Transition to Freedom. So it's a 9-step how to leave the workplace in 9 months. 9 steps to leave the workforce in 9 months.
Wow.
Which is what I did.
So you can't just leave it there. How did that happen? How did you make that happen?
My goodness.
Spill the beans. Come on, girl. We just at this kitchen table here. Just spill the beans.
We're gonna if just go back with me for a little bit here.
All right. Okay.
I tell you the story, right? Because I've been coming from a long way, and I was in corporate America for over 20 years. And, I worked at the Bar Association. I've worked at the McDonald's. But most of my years I've spent in the hospitality industry. And if you do not know that industry, man, you prepare to work hard and long, right? And so, growing up, I knew that I always wanted to make it successful. I always wanted to be a little bit further than where my family was. I have about 12 siblings. So some my mom had with my dad all together, and then my dad brought some along with him, right? But my mom took them on as her own, and so amazing. Before I get into my mom, I have 3 precious sons, ranging from 11 to 2, which are amazing. And then I have my husband, who we've been together, married now for 17 years. So it's been great. It's been really great. A learning curve all throughout, but we are together nonetheless, and it's been amazing. as a mother of three boys and my husband, I have learned so many things that has brought me to where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And so for a while in corporate America, I was working because I'm the youngest girl for my siblings, among my siblings. And I felt as though I needed to prove something, right? In
Ah.
addition, I was the only one to go to college here in the United States, because all of them, by the time we got here from Jamaica, we're already grown or started having kids. And so here I am at 15, migrated to the United States. There was just so many feelings, feelings that I felt, that I was just like, oh my goodness, where am I? I want to go back home. All of that you feel,
Sure.
and the teasing and all that. So I built up a hard exterior in going to school and just not allowing anything to penetrate. I had the focus of, I'm going to become successful and nothing is going to stop me.
There you
Right?
go. Right.
Yeah, right. And so on my way there, going through high school, going through college, my mom got sick as I was in my towards my last year of college.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting because my mom is kind of a workaholic, right?
Mm. Oh,
uh,
yes.
and so when she got sick with her heart, and people, now she has to sit down, now she has to take it easy. It was a challenge. It was a challenge for her. And so my mindset was that, okay, I need to work a job that could pay me enough money that could help my mom out, and then still enough to help to make sure that I take care of my family, right?
Absolutely.
Um,
Yes.
Went along, got the job while I'm in school, take care of that, help her to take care of her expenses along with my family. So now I'm living the way that I really desired, right? Now I got married. Oh no, things downhill a little bit, because
Mm-hmm.
all the expenses weren't there. Now instead of one, we're doing two. We waited about 5 years before we had kids, and that was because of me, right?
Okay.
Me. And why was that? Because I did not feel financially secure,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I wanted to make sure that when we started having kids, we were able to take care of them. Oh, Jesus. During that time, we faced evictions. We faced times where food was a challenge. Being able to
Mm.
take care of all of our expenses was a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It was heavy. It was a lot, right? And so I wanted to put myself in a position, work wise, where I would earn enough money and not having to go through that embarrassment again.
Absolutely. There you go. Yes.
And so when an opportunity came at my job, and for me to go from a accounts receivable specialist now to a manager, I was a little scared. One, because I was only there for 6 months in that role.
Mm. Wow.
So 6 months, and I'm like, I don't know. Am I enough for this? And my husband said, why not?
Mm-hmm.
You can do it. You know how to. You have a good relationship with your boss. Just let him mentor you. But I kept on doubting myself, doubting myself, doubting myself. Am I enough for it? Am I enough for it? Till finally one day my boss said, Grace, why don't you try? You know, okay, I submit my application, submitted everything. And hey, I was in that role for about 5 years as a
Mm.
as accounting manager, right? I
Yeah.
did, but for some reason, I always felt the need to overdo and to prove myself and to go above and beyond. So after receiving accolades and awards and all of this, manager of the year, I developed a bad habit, a
Oh.
bad habit, a bad habit of working, so sacrificing my time with my family and
Mm-hmm.
take it to the job.
Right. Yeah, and you know what? And we as women do that so often. But you have touched on at least one, two, at least three things that I would love to explore further. Number one, when you were initially offered a new position as a manager, even though you had only been on your job for 6 months, obviously someone saw something in you that would lead them to believe that you would be able to do this manager's job, but you still doubted yourself. So in addition to your manager going to you and telling you to go ahead and try, and your husband's encouragement, what was that one thing? What is it that finally made you decide to break down the fear, break through it, and go for it to then your 5-year career doing that particular position?
I started believing.
Amen. Okay.
I have a I have to say I have a good relationship with God. So at that time, I even during my career, I depended on God a whole lot. I depended on a whole lot. And so although I would push my family to the side, I made sure that I would never push my relationship with God to the side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he was in it all along. And so when I went to him and I said, Daddy, what do I do here? What do I do? I mean, if I go, will you carry me? Will you be there for me?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I went to him. Like, if I do this, will you be there for me? And I'm sure he laughed at me, um, but he kept on saying, Grace, go, just go. Do you not believe in me? Do you not believe in me? And so and this is not the first time that he's gonna say that, but I sure tell you, December of last year was the last time he will say that to me as it pertains to me making decisions. And you'll get to that. But he just said to me, just believe in him, right? Believe in him,
Mm-hmm.
and then believe also in yourself. Oftentimes, we're taught to believe in God, right? And to believe in others, but we're not really taught to believe in ourselves.
Right.
Right. And so
Yeah.
I started believing in me. I started believing that I had what it required, what it took to fulfill the role. And guess what? Whatever else I did not know, God had promised to give it to me, to download it to me. He promised that I am enough. He says that I'm enough over and over. He's given me whatever gifts, talents, and skills to get to the place where I needed to get to. So I had to start
Exactly.
believing in me.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Oh my goodness. So how was that, transition? So you felt the fear, you took the plunge, you decided to go ahead and accept the position. How was that transition, and going back to your reliance on God to get you through this, at least the initial parts of this new position? How did that transition take place? And but along with that, in addition to how did that transition take place for you, did you also then have subordinates, if you will, that where you were once peers and now you became their supervisor? And how did that transition take place?
It was scary. It was scary, but my compass was God, right? And I knew
Mm-hmm.
that he had me. And so I didn't allow the fear to overtake me. I
Okay.
didn't, though the fear was there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always there, right? It's kind of like a driving force for us, right? But we
Right.
have to overcome that fear. And so I decided just to put one foot in front of the other every day,
Mm-hmm.
to do my best and rely on God. God, whatever I don't know, show it to me. Show it to me. If I need to go get, increase my knowledge, then show me. If I
Mm-hmm.
need to, make sure that I have allies where I need them, then do that too. Right. But I stayed close with my manager,
Mm-hmm.
right? When my director of finance at the time, I stayed close to him. I was humble, and I
Mm.
said, just teach me. Just teach me. This is my first managerial role. I want to succeed. Teach me. Unfortunately, he wasn't there for long because he went off to another hotel.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yeah. However, that one of the concern, as you asked, one of the major concerns for the executive managers in giving me this role was, will my subordinates, will those people who have been peers with, now having to look at me as their manager, how would that go? Like, what would that be like?
Yeah.
The great thing was, Jacqueline, is that I was already leading in church. I was leading in different departments. So I have already learned different things on how to lead, right? And how to win people over. So it took me winning some of them over. They already respected me because at this point I'm working with traditionals and I'm also working with the millennials at that time, Gen X's, right?
Yes.
And Gen X, what I learned was that they don't value you because of, I'm your elder, so I need to respect you. No, it's all about, what can you teach me? What can you show me? What can you give me? What can I learn from you? So I understood that fairly well. And so I displayed it, right? I displayed, here's what I want you to learn from me. And so that was a challenge. But there was one person on the team, man, they challenged me. They challenged me to the core. And so I had to hey, God, what's going on here? And then I talked to my manager. How do you deal with this? Because he was older than me. He felt like he needed to get the role, if anything. She is younger. She's only been here for a little while. And so all of those things that are faced. And so I always say, I never disrespected him, right? Because I believe that if I went to that level, then it would give him the permission to go to that level with me as his manager. And so I always kept it a level of respect. I always kept, and then I used what his gifts and what his strengths were.
Okay.
I tapped into his strengths, right? And I said, hey, I want you to just partner with me in making sure that this department wins. It's not about you. It's not about me. We're in accounting. And when on the outside looking in, nobody cares, right? All that matters is, how do we manage and gatekeep the money and the processes? How do we do that? Right?
Exactly.
So this is what really matters. So I had to help him to see what really matters. Does it really matter? Does it really matter that I'm leading you? I'm passing down the direction. I'm here to give you feedback. I'm here to give you solutions. I'm here to help you. But overall, we're all here in the department to be successful at what we're doing and to help this hotel to win when it pertains to its finance. So I had to break that down for him a little bit. And that's how I won him over. And we were able to do this together for a few years.
Absolutely. So again, something else you brought up. So you used your God-given gifts to draw out the God-given gifts of someone else so that the entire organization can win. And that is ministry. That is phenomenal. That's just, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
And this is why I say we are enough. Oftentimes we feel like I can't do this, I can't do that, sometimes we don't go after certain roles because we feel like we're not qualified because we don't have the experience. But
absolutely. And again, that's exactly why we are here, my sisters, to encourage you to break down those barriers, those whatever you want to call it, because you are enough to pursue whatever it is that God has laid on your heart to go out there and put your hands to in his service. So yes, GraceAnn, can you speak to that?
Yes, absolutely. Just because we are not experienced does not mean that we're not qualified.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. It means that we have not tested. We haven't tried it. We haven't give ourselves permission to take the risk on us. And so if we would dare to go ahead and take the risk, we will realize that we can do so much more than what we tell ourselves. So much more. So much more. God proved it to me over and over and over again when I went from accounts receivable specialist onto being an accounting manager, onto being working at the New York Palace as chief accountant, right? Overseeing 17. I went from overseeing 5 people to overseeing 17 people.
Oh my goodness. Won't God do it? Look at God.
You know, it blew my mind. And I had such favor. There was such favor at that place that I went from chief accountant to being assistant director of finance, one of the youngest in that role, in that hotel. That hotel had over 200 managers. Over 200 managers, right? Majority of them were not Black, right? Number one. And 2, they were not young as I was at the time, right? And here I am, one of 3 managers in the department, and overseeing now not only the line staff, but I'm overseeing other managers as the assistant director of finance. What a God. I never thought that I would be doing that. Remember, when the position opened up, you know, when I was on, I was like, I don't know. I don't know.
Right, but you stepped out on faith and you did it. You stepped out on faith and you did it, and you did it afraid. You felt the fear because you said that you didn't know, you know, what it was going to be or what you were going to do, but so you felt the fear, but you stepped out and did it anyway.
Absolutely. And can I tell you a secret, Jacqueline?
Absolutely.
It ain't a secret no more because it's out there. Even at that point, my degree, now keep in mind, I'm in finance. My degree was in sociology and administrative.
See, you know what? Yeah.
Right. So when I said I relied on God, I totally I pushed him for everything that I was uncertain of. And surely there were many. I would say, God, download or send me to where I can find this resource. Right. Send me. I was open to learning. And then this organization, they sent, and you got different certifications. So I always added to my knowledge, you know, but God totally carried me. But with all of that, even to my most recent role as before I resigned as director of finance, complex director of finance, I was like, whoa, God, I don't know how I'm going to do it. But for several months, I juggled 2 hotels, you know, during the time of pandemic, only having 1 other staff member.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, I'm like, okay, you know, and so, but in all of that, I knew that God was calling me for more. He was calling me for different. He was calling me to just by faith move in the direction that he was calling me to. He was showing me to. And so just last year in March, he reminded me that 5 years ago at the time, 5 years ago, he asked me to step away, and I didn't. So what happened? I was at work as in another hotel. I'm at work, and this is late. This was almost 10 p.m. at night. And I'm trying to tie up a bow on another project, right? And my son called and he said, Mom, I didn't see you this morning when I woke up, and I'm not going to see you tonight when we go to bed.
Wow.
Yeah. I was already struggling with feeling guilty that I'm not a good mom.
Yeah.
I'm not enough as a mom. I'm not enough as all of that. But why did I draw to work? Because I knew that I was so good at that. And I knew that I got the whatever feeling I was looking for from that. And so I kept on pushing towards it. And I tried to block out the whatever guilt and shame I was feeling from not feeling enough in those areas, as opposed to really confronting it, really speaking facts to it and saying, hey, wait a second, that is not true. Right? But so my guilt met with his words that were factual. And I said, wow, okay, I dropped everything that night and I jumped on the Metro North heading from the city.
Wow. Stay tuned for the next episode when we conclude this powerful interview with GraceAnn Johnson. Until next time, take care, stay safe, be well, be kind to each other, and be kind to yourself. Bye now.